Good evening, everybody. My name is Mark. I'm going to reiterate first what my partner said. Our claim was. Our claim is that we believe that designated faculty and staff members should be allowed to keep a handgun at their work locations. Now, the first thing that I want to refute is that, and I'll start with defining this term. It's the term called SRO, which is School Resource Officer. Now, the first thing I want to refute is that one of the reasons why guns are needed on campuses is that armed staff and designated faculty are beneficial during the gap between police response times. Now, David Thwart, who is the superintendent of the Herald Independent School District, he said that, I'm sorry, and this is the Herald Independent School District that's north of Wichita Falls in Texas. Now, he said that, he said that under a state law, so his district became the first to allow teachers to carry guns in 2007. Now, under a state law that allows districts to authorize employees with concealed handgun license to do so. Thwart said that his district has had no problems with the policy so far, and said it allows his 108 student rural school to be protected, or to protect their students for the 30 minutes that it would take the first responders to reach the school in the event of a shooting. Now, 5 minutes would be a long time with any kind of school shooting. So, if you're in a rural school area, you have to wait 30 minutes. It's horrible. Now, Michael H. O'Donnell, who is a writer for the Idaho State Journal, now he said the teachers at Wilcox Elementary School, this is in Idaho, were holding an in-service Thursday afternoon when some of them noticed a group of male teens on the playground with what appeared to be firearms. Now, there were no students attending school, but they eventually called the Pocatello police to report their observations and waited while they huddled in the principal's office for about 15 minutes, as they did not have an armed SRO employed. Now, once again, not 30 minutes, but 15 minutes where there's no armed SRO or faculty member on the campus to prevent anything had it had been a real firearm. Now, another reason why guns are needed in schools is that, even though it's actually, the school violence incidents are actually declining, we look at recent shootings and how they provide evidence that our current system fails to protect young students. Now, Mark Folman, Gavin Aronson, and Deanna Pan, who are writers for a political website called motherjones.com. Now, from their studies, basically, they mapped out all the mass shootings over the last, over the last 2 decades. Now, March 24th, 1988, you had Jonesboro, Arkansas, at Westside Middle School. And this was an 11 and 13-year-old that managed to kill 5 people. Then you have March 21st, 2005 in Red Lake, Minnesota, at Red Lake Senior High School, and 7 people were killed. 4/16/2007, you had Virginia Tech, 33 who killed. And just recently in Newtown, Connecticut, you had 20 children and 6 adults killed. All of these places, there was no armed SRO employed. Now, SROs and armed school staff have already proven to save the lives of students in danger. If you look at Asa Hutchinson, who's the director of the National School Shield Task Force, he actually wrote a 226 report of the National School Shield Task Force. Now, during the 1999 shooting at Columbine High School, there was a full-time SRO on campus. Now, the officer engaged in brief gunfire with the 2 murders, which likely saved several lives. And now when you look at it in the time gap and what's happened as recently, and you see, I continue with the quote, with recent increased attention of the impact of SROs on school safety and developments in training methods and procedures, armed guards are now able to more effectively protect students. Now, if the situation of Columbine were to repeat itself, a trained SRO would have the skills to directly engage the active shooter and would be aware that neutralizing the threat is of the first priority. You also look at 1997, there was a shooting at Pearl High School, and the principal actually foiled the shooter's plan, and he had actually ran out to his truck, and he had pulled out his gun from his car, and he was able to actually, he said that when he pointed the gun at the kid, it was funny because this kid was a monster, but then when he pointed his gun at the kid, all of a sudden the kid became a kid again, and he submitted, and they were able to take him into custody. And also, recently in Atlanta, at Atlanta Middle School, there was a shooting, on January 30th of 2013. Now, the quote says that the shooter was disarmed and taken into custody minutes after the incident by an off-duty Atlanta police officer, attorney said. He said the off-duty police officer was armed, works at Prince Middle School as a school resource officer providing security. Lastly, I want to say is refuting the idea that the students won't be safe if guns are allowed in the school. So recently, there's a writer by the name of Adam Vrankuli. He works for Biometric, and basically they specialize in biometric safe containers, safes for guns. Now, Southern California-based Security Solutions, which is the company, has just announced a new biometric gun safe it believes can protect schools. The solution, which the company says has been met with acceptance by some school districts in California and Texas, is essentially a wall-mounted safe containing a firearm to allow authorized users through fingerprint access verification. Different from gun cabinets, that only feature a locking mechanism, the security solution system includes a safe, surveillance camera, audio intercom to a manned central station, IP communication interface, and a biometric interface, door status contact, tamper switch, and delay verification to release the dock. So, I mean, all it said, like, the kids are not going to be able to access these firearms. They're not going to be able to get their hands on it. So it will remain out of their reach, thus keeping them safe. Thank you.